Hey everyone, Ari Fold here. It is Friday afternoon around 6 p.m., exactly 6 p.m. here in Israel. I believe it's 11 a.m. on the Eastern time, and we are going to talk a little bit about this week's Parsha, what's going on in this week's Torah portion we'll be reading tomorrow. The portion is called Va'Etchanan, and it is a very, very powerful portion we have in the Torah. So first of all, everyone who's coming on, welcome. Please let me know that you're here. Say hello. And let me know where you're tuning in from. Also, let me know if the audio and the video is coming in clearly. Give me some thumbs up so I know that. Shalom, Shabbat Shalom. Amy, welcome. Thank you. Malka, Todah. Okay, so for those of you tuning in right now, welcome. Ari Fold here from the beautiful rolling hills of Judea, Israel. I see that the thumbs are going up and people are tuning in, so I see that that it's working. Janet is in from Utah. Awesome. Anthony is here. Welcome. Malka, Shabbat Shalom Gamlach. All right, so I want to talk a little bit about this really interesting parsha. We're going to discuss what happened here to Moshe Rabbeinu. Hello, Bonnie. How are you? Before I start, I would like to please invite everyone to share it out and invite your friends and family in here. I also just pinned up the most important comment that pots can happen in this broadcast. For those of you who don't know, over the last week, I've been delivering tens of these cool collars to IDF soldiers. Naomi, could you get me one out of the freezer, please? They're basically, what happens is that it's in the freezer. Cool collar. It was boiling hot this week, and I wanted to show some appreciation for the other one. Show some appreciation to the IDF soldiers. So I met this company, really cool company, and they basically make these collars, which is called Quick Snow. It stays cool. This is actually chemical snow, and it's actually smoky. Now, if you can see it, it stays cool for 2 hours, and it can be refrozen over and over again, either in the freezer, in the fridge, or even a ice chest, whatever it is. And I went out and I gave it to these soldiers who were on the field there, and they were basically in the boiling hot. We put this around their necks, and they literally got the chills. So I have a goal to give thousands of these out to soldiers, and I do need your help. People are telling me that the stream is cutting off. Let me know, please. Give me some thumbs up and let me know if it's coming in clearly or not. I want to make sure that I'm heard before I start the portion here. So if I can get some thumbs up and let me know if it's coming in. Again, I'm just waiting to let me know that this is working. Let me know, please, if you're tuning in, if you can hear me and see me. Just put it down here. Your audio and video is clear. All right, so this week's Parsha, very, very interesting. Moshe Rabbeinu, Moses, the leader of Am Yisrael, thank you, Vicky, I appreciate that. The leader of Am Yisrael is on the border of Israel. They are by the Jordan River, and they're about to enter the land of Israel. Now, Moshe all his life has worked for the nation of Israel under God's command, and he had one wish, and one wish only, and his wish was to enter the land of Israel. And it says here, Va'Etchanan el Hashem, that Moshe Rabbeinu prays and begs, the word is a beg, Va'Etchanan, begs to God. V'etchanan Hashem, he says, in that time when he beat Og Melech Bashan, they beat the biggest king in the area, and Moshe Rabbeinu thought that because of maybe his belief and his successful leading of the nation, that maybe a Kadosh Baruch Hu, maybe God will let off with a punishment, this really extreme punishment that God punished Moshe Rabbeinu, that he will not enter the land of Israel. He had one wish in his entire life, and that was to enter the land of Israel, and he is not allowed to be entered. Now, what I want to talk about more than just the punishment itself is I want to talk about the fact that Moshe Rabbeinu actually went over to the nation of Israel and said, guys, because of you, I'm not going in. And he told the nation of Israel that although he was behaving his whole life according to God's decrees, that now he's ending up being punished, and no matter how much he prays and begs, and according to the Torah, Kadosh Baruch Hu, God says to Moshe, stop praying. Stop praying. You have no right to pray now. You are not going in. And he repeats this to the nation of Israel. And the question really is, why would you do that? In other words, if Moshe Rabbeinu has belief in God, and of course he does, so he can accept the punishment. But why tell the nation of Israel, which was really having trouble with their faith that even though I believed in God through and through, I'm ending up not going in. Why would he say this to the nation? Why would he show that he's praying to God? And his prayers, not only do they not work, HaKadosh Baruch Hu, God says to him, stop praying. You're not going in. And the question is, hello everyone. I'm sorry if I'm not seeing anyone personally, but I see all your messages. Thank you for saying hello. Let me know where you're tuning in from, and hit that share button and invite people in. So why would he tell this to the nation of Israel, who's already having trouble with their faith? Why? Thank you, Annette, for sharing. Why would he tell them, look, I'm praying, and it's not working? Why would he give it to a nation who's already having trouble with their faith? Why would the leader of that nation say, look, I prayed, and I did everything right, and I'm getting punished? Why would he say it to a nation? That's number one. So the answer is the following. It's brought down in one of the Midrashim, and one of the Jewish sages that talks about about this parasha. By the way, if you do shout out, let me know, and I'll give you a shout out. And it says in Hebrew, Ani mitchanen, Moshe Rabbeinu says, I am begging a Kadosh Baruch Hu likanes la'aretz. I am begging God to come into the land of Israel. Vatem, and he says to the nation of Israel, and you, the nation of Israel, is getting a free ticket consigned to the land of Israel. You are talking, you're disgusted by the land. And this is what he's saying. He's not telling this story. He's not saying, oh, look what happened to me, this is what happened, therefore. No, he's saying to the nation of Israel, he said, Moshe Rabbeinu says, I, who have done everything right my whole life, and I'm begging God to go into the land of Israel, the only thing I ever wanted to do. And he's saying no to me. And you see how much I'm praying to God just to go in the land of Israel. Now, what does Moses need in the land of Israel? He's got everything. He's a leader of the nation of Israel. He saw miracles. He spoke to God. What's missing in his life? Why is he so itchy to go into the land of Israel? Well, because the entire Jewish nation, the entire Jewish religion is surrounding only the land of Israel. You can be in the desert for 40 years and 4 nights and see God and feel God, and he's dressing you, he's giving you shoes, and you see the splitting of the sea and the 10 plagues in Egypt, and Har Sinai, Mount Sinai, Zekeli Vanveu, and also in Yamsuf, Bnei Yisrael said, it points at Zekeli Vanveu, this is my God. So you could see it all in the desert, but it is not. It's not reality, because what has to happen, it has to be in the land of Israel. That is the nation of Israel's destiny, in the land of Israel. And Moshe Rabbeinu realized that. And that's why he's begging, but he's saying to the nation of Israel, look at me. I'm begging to go in this land, and I'm not letting, look how much I'm crying, and I'm praying to God. He says to the nation of Israel, you get a ticket in, and you're talking with bad language about the land of Israel? He's giving rebuke to the nation of Israel. Now, we're living in a generation where it sounds absolutely insane, but where the Jewish people are living in a way where Moshe Rabbeinu, Moses himself, could not do. He did not pass the Jordan River into the land of Israel. And here we are, the Jewish nation, back in the land of Israel, and we crossed the Jordan River, we're back in, we built a state, and we have an army for the first time in 2,000 years, and we liberated Jerusalem and Judea and Samaria and all the areas, and we've been back to places where the Jews have not been back for 2,000 years, and maybe we have to read this portion over again. Va'etchanan el Hashem, Moshe Rabbeinu begged to God to come to the land of Israel. We come in, we win miraculous wars, the 6-day war, and we rebuild Jerusalem, and we're talking about giving it up. I hear Moshe Rabbeinu's voice echoing. Va'etchanan, Moshe Rabbeinu is saying, I beg God to go into the land of Israel. I cannot go in. You're allowed in. You're talking about giving it away. I can still hear that voice being echoed in my head. Now, besides Moshe Rabbeinu begging God to go into the land of Israel, there is really a code book, or I'll call it a cheat sheet, in terms of the nation of Israel, how to succeed or fail in the land of Israel. And this is really, really, I would say even crucial to learn. So we're going to go through a couple of the psukim here, a couple of the passages, and again, feel free to share it out. Do let me know if you are sharing it out, and if every now and then let me know it's coming in clearly, of course. But it says the following. Moshe Rabbeinu says to the nation of Israel, you're going into the land of Israel. First of all, don't you dare talk badly about the land of Israel. Don't you dare. That's number one. Then he says the following. You want to succeed, and I have to read these passages in the Hebrew language, in the original language here. He says the following. Re, si, limadati etchem chukim u'mishpatim, kasher tzivani Adonai Elohai. I've taught you the rules and regulations the way that God spoke to me. Lasot ken bekerav haaretz, that you should act according to those laws when you do come in to the land of Israel. Asher atavayim sham al rishta, that you are coming into the land of Israel to inherit. Ushmartem, keep, vasitem, and do, all the commandments that were taught at Zion. Keep all the commandments. Why? Because your laws that Kadosh Baruch Hu gave, the Torah that was given at Mount Sinai, the Torah that was given at Har Sinai, that is your insight and your wise impression in front of the nations. When they hear all those laws, only a wise nation, Hagoy Gadol, is this great nation of Israel. What is it saying here? Moshe Rabbeinu is saying to Am Yisrael, you're not just going into a land like every other nation goes into a land, like the Americans go into America, and like the French go into France, and the British go into England. No, that's not what we're doing here. And if you want the world to respect you, I'm not talking about love. If you want the world to respect you, you must respect yourselves. And therefore he says you have to keep and uphold the laws and the morality code according to what a Kadosh Baruch Hu gave. Not, make up your own morality code. Oh, this sounds good now and this sounds good. Let's be just like this country, that. No, that's not the way it works here. You want the world to respect you. Just don't go along with what society says. You want the world to respect you. You got to keep the moral code according to what God defined for you. And that is the only way that the world's going to respect you. And not only will they respect you, they're going to say, look at those laws. Only a wise and a tremendous nation, like the nation of Israel, has those laws. Now, if we don't keep those laws, if the nation of Israel tries to be like everyone else, and it's not that everybody else is bad, this is not good or bad, it's just different. The nation of Israel does not understand the importance and uniqueness of who we are, defined by the Torah, then we're not going to get respect. No matter how much we try to be like everyone else, and if we give up the laws of kashrut and we eat anything, we give the laws of Shabbat, and we just say, you know what, we want to be like the whole world, it's not going to bring respect. And I think that, unfortunately, we're not talking about that anyone's fault, but we know that there were many movements, for example, in Germany before World War II, that were trying to be more German than German. Some of the Jews there had the communities took out the word Zion from their prayer books and put in the word Berlin as the new Jerusalem. Why? Because they wanted to be like everyone else. We want to be Germans. Well, it didn't really work, did it? Because we tried to be Germans and the Nazis said, no way, you're Jews. So when we try to deny our identity, others will be there to remind us. When we uphold our identity, then the world will respect us and even look up at us for the laws that we keep. Now, here in the same chapter here, in Pasuk Kaf Bet 22, for those who are interested, Moshe Rabbeinu tells the nation of Israel that he's dying. And this is what he says. Ki anochi met ba'aretz hazot. Moshe Rabbeinu says, I'm dying here in this land. Eineni over et Yarden. I'm not going past the Jordan River. I'm not going to the land of Israel like all of you. V'atem ovrim. And he says to that nation, you will go over. And then that was a call to reality. You will go over. That's just what's going to happen. Okay? It doesn't say v'atem ta'avru. You have to go over. It's saying atem ovrim. You're going over. It's not a request. It's not a commandment. It's just what is. Atem ovrim. You are going over. And then comes the command. V'yirishtem et haaretz hatovah hazot. And inherit this good land. Remember, we're talking right after not right after, but 40 years after the Meraglim, the spies. And he says, you're going over the land. But going over the land is not enough. You have to inherit this good land. And what that means, number one, inheritance means you go and you live there. You go and you work the land. You don't give the land away to your enemies. That's not going to bring peace. That's going to be war. Right? The fact that we came to the land of Israel is not the end of the story. It's the beginning of the story. And the story will be written according to how we act in the land of Israel. And we just read that the only way that the Jews are going to get respect from the world is if we uphold the laws and the moral code that God defined for us. So he says, when you pass over the borders and you go into the land of Israel, you must inherit the land. Go live there. Inherit it. Settle the land. Somehow in this world, in this crazy world, the word settlement has become an evil word. I'm very proud of being a settler, a Jewish settler in the area of Judea, Israel. I'm fulfilling literally psukim here from this week's parsha. Okay, so it says, go over v'yirishtem and inherit this good land. But there's another small, big condition here. And it says, Yishamru lachem. But be careful. What do we have to be careful for? Maybe we have to be careful for the enemies around us. Maybe we have to be careful for the fire kites or fire bombs. Maybe we have to be careful for Hamas or Hezbollah or all the terrorists that are trying to kill us. Maybe be careful over them. No. They're tools. They are not the reason for our destruction or our getting stronger or weaker. They are tools. Hishamu lachem. He says, be careful. Pen tishkechu et brit Adonai lachem asher karati mechem. Lest you forget the covenant that Kadosh Baruch Hu, that God made with you. V'asitem lachem pesel tmunat kol, and you start making idols or some pictures or whatnot. Kol asher tivcha Adonai Elohecha. And then it goes into a whole long section over here of warning the nation of Israel against idol worship. Now, why would Moshe Rabbeinu think that at this point, when after they saw all the miracles and they were punished for the golden calf, they know the price of making idols, what is this doing here? Well, what it's doing here is, until now in the desert, a Kadosh Baruch Hu, when I say Kadosh Baruch Hu, for those who don't know Hebrew, it means God, it means the Holy One, blessed his name. A Kadosh Baruch Hu took care of every last need of Am Yisrael. From the food, you had the manna, the clothing and the shoes. You had fire at night to show the way. You had the cloud during the day to show the way. Am Yisrael was not missing anything. And they didn't have to put any effort into it. There was no effort. God was right there. So why, when we go into the land of Israel, we're about to realize our destiny, why is it important to talk about the idol worship? Be careful not. How could the nation of Israel possibly finally make it to the land of Israel and possibly dream about doing idol worship? Well, the idol worship is not just bowing down to idols. That again is a tool. The idol worship is believing in anything else but the power of a Kadosh Baruch Hu, the power of Hashem, power of God. So if we go into the land of Israel and we do what we have to do, we build a country, we build a state, and we build an army, and we have planes and brave soldiers, and it's all part and parcel of what we should be doing in this country. And then we win the wars, and we say, Kochi va'otzim yadi, it was my own strength that won those wars. It was because of the planes, it was because of the tanks. That is idol worship. Because now what's happening here is in the desert, we had everything, a Kadosh Baruch Hu, God was doing everything for us. So there's no way that we could possibly be mixed up. And we still failed with the golden calf. We still failed with lack of belief. We said we can't go into the land of Israel. But we had no efforts. So it was clear to us that everything's coming from a Kadosh Baruch Hu. Now you go into the land of Israel. Now you put your effort into it, right? Now you have to work the ground. There's no more man coming down from the sky. Now you have to work the ground. Now the question is, you got to work the ground. You got to turn the soil. You got to plant the seeds. You got to pray for rain, so on and so forth. When the wheat finally grows and you're eating your bread from your own fields, do you say, oh, this is mine? Or do you make a bracha, hamotzi lechem min haaretz? The bracha we make on bread in Judaism, hamotzi lechem, Kadosh Baruch Hu brings out bread from the land. Who do you put the blame on? On me? Did I do it? And that's the danger when your own effort is involved. Right? We work very hard. Okay, and we work, and our boss, we make a lot of money. Oh, who does that money belong to? And everyone should be wealthy and comfortable in life. Absolutely, there's nothing wrong with that. But the question is, our working hard is very important. We have it in Judaism. Work your fingers to the bone, and then you will eat. Working and taking responsibility is one of the cornerstones of Judaism. But after you succeed, who do you say thank you to? Your hands? Now, you go to the doctors, you have to get an emergency surgery, right? You go to the doctor, and the doctor gives you surgery, and it's successful. You say, of course you say thank you to the doctor. It's called having common decency. You say thank you, you can send them flowers. But do you have a session to say thank you to a Kadosh Baruch Hu, to God? There's an old story about this, that in terms of, I said it many times here, that a person who's drowning, and along comes the Coast Guard, and and the guy says, no, I'm waiting for God to save me. And along comes a cruise ship, no, I'm waiting for God to save me. And the fisher boat, and the canoe, and everyone's the guy saying, no, he's waiting for God to save him. And eventually he drowns and dies. He goes up to the God, and Hashem says to him, I don't understand. The guy says, Kadosh Baruch Hu, I davened so hard for you. Why didn't you save me? A Kadosh Baruch Hu, God says to him, I sent you the cruise ship. I sent you the Coast Guard. I sent you a canoe. Why didn't you grab hold? I was waiting for you. No. We have to put effort into this world, and God gives us our traits and our skills to succeed in this world. But at the end of the day, even if you would have gotten up on that ship, and he would have gotten up the cruise or whatever, he's got to say, thank God. Yes, they think you're the captain for real. Of course you have to have a karat tov. But thank God. Now, there are a lot of people who are saying that the Jews have lost their power. They're no longer, God's people. They're no longer the Jews. The real Jews are this, the real Jews are that. And the question is, how do I know? Maybe with so many sins that we did in the past, from the golden calf, from the spies, through the whole Tanakh, the whole Bible, from idol worship to really going against our own prophets. It's true, we did it the whole time. How do I know that Kadosh Baruch Hu, that God will not give up on the Jewish people? How do I know that the Jewish people are eternal? As we say in Hebrew, Netzach Yisrael lo yishaker, the eternal survival of the Jewish people does not lie. We're here. The Assyrians, the Romans, the Greeks, the Nazis, they're gone. We're here. Right? So how do I know, though? Well, the answer is in this week's parasha we have in Pasuk Lamed Aleph, 31 for those of you who English. We have in chapter 4, 31, Daled Lamed Aleph. Ki el rachum, ki God is a compassionate God. Adonai Elecha, the God in heavens. Lo yarpecha, He will not let you go. V'lo yishchitecha, He will not destroy you. It's talking about, we're talking about the nation of Israel. He will not let you go, will not destroy you. V'lo yishkach et brit avotecha shenishba lehem, and He will not forget the covenant that He made with your forefathers. In other words, we have a responsibility to do what we have to do. But we have a flat-out, black and white promise in the Torah that we will not be destroyed as a Jewish people. Okay? And then it goes on to say exactly what I just said. Ask from the beginning of history. Days that came before you. From then till now. From the time when God created man on earth, until the end of history, to the end of the heavens, has something so great have been heard or seen like this? What is he talking about? Is there any other nation that heard God speaking from the fires? In other words, I'm not judging any other religions, please don't get the wrong idea, but the Jewish religion is the only religion of national revelation, where the Jews said, we all heard God, right? There's no such other thing. Why is that so important? Well, I can convince you that I heard God, right? And I can tell you I'm a prophet and listen to me, but I can't convince you that you were with me and heard God. That lie won't last a second, right? Imagine someone said to you, hey, you were with me last night, we both heard God, and we heard the same thing. So if you were really there, you'd say, yeah, we heard it. If you weren't there, you're going to say, what are you, you're crazy. So the Jewish nation, the only nation that has this national revelation at Mount Sinai. And he says, was there ever such a thing that a whole nation heard the voice of a Kadosh Baruch of God come out from the fire? The way that the nation of Israel heard and lived. Now it's very interesting. I never understood why this means that the way the nation of Israel heard and lived. Why was that so important? There's actually one Indian nation that I heard about, I never actually looked into this, where they also said the whole nation heard God, but everybody was destroyed except one man. Now he was a prophet. All right, that was close, but nice try. And then it goes on, is there any other nation there where God took the entire nation out of a bondage with miracles and with war that nation couldn't even fight their slaves? And he's saying, your stories, the Jewish people, are unique. There are a lot of other great nations in the world, a lot of religion in the world. Your story is unique. Nobody copies your story. And then it says the following, probably the most important passage in this week's parasha, and probably the Torah maybe. You were shown to know, knowledge, not believe, not ta'aret la'amin. Now you were shown to believe. You were shown knowledge. Ki Adonai hu Elohim, because Hashem is, we don't say the name, but Hashem is the only God in this earth. And od milvado. There is no other besides God. There is no other. Again, we have the commandment to have effort, and we have the commandment to do what we can in life, but at the end of the day, thank God. How are you doing today? Awesome. Baruch Hashem. Thank God. We say it. Baruch Hashem. Jews say it all the time. Right? But what is the issue here? Why is there so much warning of punishment, and at the same time we get a promise of being the eternal nation? It seems like it's contradicting each other. What do I care if I get punished? I'll live forever. Who cares? Well, no, that's not the way it goes. The idea of the eternal nation is you can make as many mistakes as you want. It'll go over and over again. At the end of the day, Hashem is hoping, God is hoping that you'll understand the hint. The way to get respect from the world is to stick to who you are as the Jewish nation. Follow the commandments of the Kadosh Baruch Hu. Follow the moral code. Nothing else. You might think it's oh, it's so wonderful. Let's do another moral code. It feels so good. It won't work. Okay? And history goes on itself. And you can look throughout history, again, the Romans, the Greeks, the Assyrians, you want to get the Spanish Inquisition, the Moroccan slaughter in Granada in 1066, you can go throughout history, we're getting beaten up over and over again, the Jewish people. Those who came after us are all gone. They're gone. The Canaanites are gone, and the Philistines are gone, and the Romans are gone, and the Greeks are gone, and the Assyrians, they're all gone. We're still here, the Jewish people. So God's saying, yes, you're eternal. But look, learn from history. It won't work. The only thing that will work is if the nation of Israel stands up for who they are and upkeeps God's word in terms of the moral code. And of course, this week's Parsha is nothing surprise here that there are two major parts of this week's Parsha. First of all, Shema Yisrael, Hashem Elokeinu, Hashem Echad. Hear, O Israel, God is one. The most famous sentence that we know about is in this Parsha, as well as we have the Ten Commandments, which is really, really interesting. Now, what about peace? What about peace with the people in Israel? Why can't we make peace with the nations who are in Israel at the time or afterwards or whatnot? This is an unbelievable thing it says here. It says, take over all the nations in the land. God will give it in front of you, and you must be victorious over them. Completely kick them out, those who are your enemies. You may not sign a treaty with them. And you should not have any pity on them. Not because they're a different religion or different people. We're not talking about a different religion. This doesn't mean that people who are not Jewish can't live in the land of Israel. Absolutely false. We know that there is a concept of a ger toshav, who's a non-Jew living in the land of Israel. This is talking about the enemies of the people of Israel, which are really the enemies of a Kadosh Baruch Hu, the enemies of God. We're talking about people, idol worshippers. We're talking about pagan people who have no moral code based on God, but have moral code on their own thought process. We think now this is okay, so it must be okay. And he says, do not connect yourself with them. Lo titchaten bam, you should not marry them. Bitcha lo titen livno, you should not have your daughter give to their sons. Don't take their daughters for your sons. Not because they're not Jewish. It's because their entire culture is idol worship. And it cannot go together with the Jewish people in the land of Israel. It just won't work. Okay? It's really us or them. And again, that doesn't mean that no people who aren't Jewish can live in the land of Israel. 100% false. People can live in the land of Israel, and non-Jews as well. And they're called a ger toshav. Ger toshav gets full rights. In fact, according to Jewish law, if you have one pillow in the house, it's got to go to the ger toshav, into the non-Jew who lives in the land of Israel. So this is not about being anti someone who's not Jewish. This is about a culture of people who believe in murder, who believe in idol worship, who believe in immorality when it comes to everything from sexual immorality to social immorality, everything. Now the problem is, if morality is based on society, then normal is a very fluid kind of thing. One day, you can have two men that are getting married. That's normal, sure. Why not? No, it's not, according to the definitions of morality of the Torah. But I ask, if that's moral, where does the red line of society? Is whatever society accepts moral and normal at any point in given time, does that turn into moral and normal? I'm not giving my own opinion. We have to think about it. Now, why is the nation of Israel so special according to this week's parsha? And when I say special, I mean better. We have more responsibility. Okay, I love being Jewish, obviously, but it's a pain sometimes. From the time you wake up to the time you go to sleep, how you eat, how you dress, how you walk, how you talk, everything you do in your life has commandments that you have to keep. Everything. And, there are some other religions that, it's very simple, let's say. Everything Jew does in life is defined morally by the Torah. So it's very, very difficult. So the question here is, what is so special, really? So here it is, Ki am kadosh atad ladonai Elohecha. The passage says, because you are a nation, kadosh. The word kadosh, people like to say is holy. No, the word kadosh means separate. It's a mistake translation. Again, probably a Christian translation. But here we're talking about, Am Kadosh is a separate nation. Ki Am Kadosh atad ladonai Elohecha. You are a separate nation for God. Becha bechar. God chose you. Adonai lechariot lo le'am zgula. God chose you to be a special nation. Mikol amim, from all the other nations. Asher al pnei adam, on the face of the earth. Now, many people like saying, because we're better. No, this is more responsibility. And by the way, Look throughout history. We've been beaten. We've been expelled. We've been slaughtered. Angelic sounds special to you? It sounds like we have more responsibility and much more consequence. So don't think that the Jews are special. They're not. No, it's not that we're better. We have more responsibility to different laws. Okay? So here it says like this, and the next pasuk is a really slap in the face. Moshe Rabbeinu is giving a reality check to the nation of Israel. Not because you'll be so much more than all the other nations. People say to me all the time, oh, look at the Muslims, they're so 1.3 billion, you're nothing. Not because of a majority. You are the minority over, you're the smallest of all the nations. Because I've said it once, I've said it 1,000 times. Morality is not a popularity contest. I don't care what the world is doing. I expect those who were in Nazi Germany in 1942 or 41 when the war started and the majority were hating and killing and whatever Jews, I expect the minority to have their moral flashlight up and save Jews. I expect the minority in Darfur to save the people there. I expect the minority in Tibet to save the people there. I expect the minority in Gaza to become more moral people. In Judea and Samaria, everywhere. Morality is not a popularity contest. And therefore, Moshe Rabbeinu says, God says, I did not pick the Jewish people because they're the biggest of the nation. In fact, I picked them because they're the smallest of the nation. And if we look at things like a diamond, okay, it doesn't matter. It's a small, little ring. 1.2 carat, 3 carat. Wow, you don't see diamonds this big. Right? So you can say, oh, why is that small diamond more valuable than this humongous rock? Because the rock is not a diamond. And therefore, it is not a popularity contest. And then it says the following. Our guarantee comes from this. It's because Kadosh Baruch Hu's love for us and to the swear that he swore our forefathers. He took us out of Egypt and he freed us from the house of slaves. And know, not ve'tamin. It doesn't say ta'min, it says v'yadata. And know. Ki Adonai Elohecha hu Elohim. That God is in charge. Ha'el ha'ne'eman. It's the loyal Kadosh Baruch Hu, Shomer HaBrit. He will keep the covenant. V'achesed lo'avav, and will give compassion to the ones who he loves. U'doshamrei mitzotav, and to those who follow his mitzvot, his commandments, le'elef dor. Basically a word for all eternity. U'mishalem et sonav, and he's going to pay back all those who hate in order to destroy those who hate. Lo yachel et sonal panav yishalem lo. And he will not be late to pay those who hate. And again, when I say hate, we're hating Kadosh Baruch Hu, you're hating his law, you're hating his people. It's the same thing. So the message is the following. Number one, we have the merit and credit, or I don't know, merit to be in the land of Israel. Moshe Rabbeinu did not have that merit to come in. We should never, don't dare speak negatively about the land of Israel. Don't you dare talk about giving this land up to others, especially our enemies, or anyone else for that matter. And I hear Moshe Rabbeinu's voice. Moshe Rabbeinu says he begged the Kadosh Baruch Hu, God, to come to the land, and God did not let him. We're here, and we're thinking about giving it away. That's Moshe Rabbeinu's message. In terms of us, success or failure is if we accept, adopt, and behave according to who we are, the Jewish people, and adopt Kadosh Baruch Hu, God's laws and moral code of acting. And that is how we will be successful, both in the land of Israel and as well as gain respect of the nations around us. All right, everyone, I want to thank everyone for watching. I want to say a couple of things. Number one, I put up the link and I'll do it again. Every time on Shabbat, I have 3,000, 4,000, 5,000 people watch the videos, and I really appreciate everyone who shares this out and likes it. It's really wonderful. Thank you. But I'm asking you something that's very important to me. Okay, I want to get to thousands of soldiers by next week, and I need your help. I'm putting the link up right here. And the truth of the matter is, if everybody here watching this would hit this link, and everybody would donate one, just one, it's $28. Everybody watching this, everybody who likes this would donate one. We'd be able to cover thousands of IDF soldiers. So please, okay, as soon as we're done here, hit this link, okay? And it's, again, $28 for one soldier. You can donate as many as you can. Please share the link out also with other people. And I'm asking everyone, please don't just hang up in there and say, okay, that was wonderful, let's move on. Hit this link as soon as I'm done. That's number one. Number two, please do share the video out, share this Torah out with the world. And number three, don't forget to like the page. And if you wouldn't mind, also rating the page. All right, everyone, have a wonderful weekend. Shabbat Shalom. This is Ari Fold from the beautiful rolling hills of Judea, Israel. Take care, everyone.